So I just first have to say, if you notice a plethora of sparkles on my face around here, it was definitely unintentional. I just spilled a ton of glitter eyeshadow all over my face and it won't come off. So for the sake of this video, I'm just gonna say that I'm trying to become the crown that Eadlyn wears. So today's review is gonna be on The Crown by Kiera Cass. This is gonna contain spoilers, so if you haven't read this series or this book, please leave now because I just need to discuss this book. I'm just gonna jump right into it. So overall, I gave this book 2 to 3 out of 5 stars, and it was a book that I could get through really quickly, but when I finished this book, I couldn't really place why I was bothered. I just felt like I didn't enjoy the story, and it took me a while to really gather my thoughts and put them together, and then I just had to share them because I just want to know if anyone else feels the same way as I do, because I was expecting to like this more than I did. I don't like the Eadlyn story as much as I like the first 3 books of the series, which were with America and Maxon, but I still had higher hopes for this book. So I think what first set me off was I went into this book thinking that we were going to be focusing on the selection. We were going to see Eadlyn make a choice of who her husband was going to be. But when we started reading, we found that was far from the case. The selection really took a back burner to the rest of the events that happened in the story, and I understand that they were intriguing in some sense, but I didn't think it fit at all. I think they were just shoved together in a way to get a reaction out of the reader, but it wasn't anything I thought was really plausible or anything that I really enjoyed, and it detracted immensely from the actual selection process that was to be taking place in this book. For example, she doesn't really pursue any relationships in the selection process, and I thought because it was narrowed down, we were going to be hearing more in depth, the more relationships were going to grow, she was going to make more attempts, but she really didn't. I mean, right away, her mother, America, has a heart attack, and her father is too sick with worry to really run the country, so Eadlyn steps in to serve as the regent. And from that point on, the book takes a more political turn and kind of shies away from the selection process. Something else that I really thought was going to lead to something more. So in the ending of the book prior to this, Aaron is gone. He's gotten married. He is no longer living in the castle, palace, whatever it is, with Eadlyn and her family. And no one has heard from Aaron, even though America had a heart attack. And it's just something you think Aaron would have responded or reached out to the family or come home in this hard time, but we don't hear a word from him. And it's something Eadlyn really worries about. So as a reader, we're picking up on these cues and we're thinking, uh-oh, something is off with Aaron. This is gonna lead to some drama. Like, I can see a plot or a story kind of forming from this. But at the end of the book, Aaron just shows up, all is forgiven, and it really amounted to nothing. Like, I felt like we were being led along a certain trip, and it just was fizzled out. There wasn't anything to be concerned about all along. It just was like a waste of time. Eadlyn serving as the regent, she kind of takes on this responsibility to make her public like her and to hear her public, and she gets involved with this man, I think his name is Meryd. There's this guy basically who the public seems to love, and so she holds this town hall meeting. All these people from different previous casts come and they kind of share their grievances, and Eadlyn just wants to listen and maybe from it hopefully form a plan that could help the people in general. And a lot of time was spent with Eadlyn worrying about the public and her image with them, and like I said, it just keeps detracting from the actual selection process. And then at the end of the book, we find out that Meryd is actually going to turn the public against her, and so Eadlyn is forced to make this really quick, rash decision that she's gonna choose her husband, and it all came so out of the blue. I need to talk about the relationship with Eric because he was actually a character that I've been rooting for since the first book in this duology. I kind of had a hint and a feeling he was gonna be something more just because it seemed he's not a candidate, so it would be kind of a plot twist if not a candidate turned out being the one that she was in love with, and it turns out he is the one that Eadlyn loves in the end, but we really don't get much of an idea of it before she's professing her undying love for him. Really, we know that Eadlyn likes Eric because she keeps mentioning his blue eyes and how she feels safe in them and how they seek into her soul, which obviously we're thinking, okay, Eadlyn has a crush on Eric, and then all of a sudden she's like, Eric, I love you so much, but we can't be together, and this is just something we're gonna have to live with, but I'm so happy to have met you. It seemed rushed to me, like how she was suddenly so in love with Eric. Like, I would have loved to see the progression of her feelings for him a little bit more, because I feel like I would have enjoyed it. Like, I was actually shipping them, so I was like excited that they got together, but also I wanted it to be something I could enjoy along the way. And then at the end, it was just like one thing after another. She becomes queen, which this is just another example of a rash decision that was made. Edlin is just talking with her father, and really in that conversation she decides that she's gonna become queen. And that's kind of a big deal, and all of a sudden she was gonna become queen. And she does, like within a week, she's the queen. And then the stuff is happening with Meryd, and she has to choose a husband, and not in a week, in a day. So she decides she's going to pick Kyle, and she goes to Kyle, and she has a change of heart because she really cares for him, and she knows that Kyle can do so much great things with his architecture and helping the country, so she sends him away. And then she's gonna marry Henry, even though they can barely talk to each other, and it's really stupid. Like, Henry, sweet guy and all, but it's not a good idea. And then they're about to announce who she's picked to be her husband when, of course, she runs to her dad and says, hey, can I pick Eric because I love him? And her dad says, yeah, whatever, I broke rules when I was in this election. She announces she's gonna be marrying Eric, and then at the very end, she says, oh, and by the way, since I'm your queen now, I'm gonna make this, you know, government a constitutional monarchy. What? I enjoy a fast-paced book, but this was just like, I didn't get to process feelings, I didn't get to feel excited for things because it was just one thing after another. I didn't know what to focus on. I still like the selection series as a whole. I almost wish that I had just stopped after the first 3 and just let them stay beautiful in my mind. Those are my thoughts on The Crown by Kiera Cass. Really no diss to the author because I know that she's still wonderful and she created the selection series in the first place. It's just, this book didn't do it for me. I would love to hear your thoughts about what I've said and about what you felt reading this book. If you agreed with anything, if you liked the fast pace, if you didn't like Eric and shipped Edlin with someone else, please let me know. I know there were a couple Team Kyle out there, which I really could have seen. Like, he was like the best friend to love kind of interest. I just didn't really see Kyle as being someone she could really truly love. She just hinted at that they liked each other, but it didn't seem like it was going to go much further than that. So for me, I couldn't ship him. I really need to stop talking now. So thank you so much for watching and happy reading.